Yeah, I was first of all very surprised to hear it this morning that now we have a new competitor in the market.
I've been in contact with Aether Model for quite some time, and there's still so much more to, that I would love to disclose.
I had an inkling that it was going to be this.
If Herpa responds how I think, meaning they will start making better details and better prices.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Bongocast, where I actually have had to change my plans for this episode of this podcast because I originally had some completely different plans. But as you probably know by now, some very exciting news have broken this week. Actually, of time of recording this podcast yesterday, I was able to disclose that a new brand will enter the Scale 500 market called Aether Model. I've made a news video about that, which I highly recommend you to check out. You can find it here on my channel if you haven't seen that just yet, so that you are fully up to date on what is going on. But in the evening hours yesterday, I then did a live stream where I had a few guests, and that is going to be our podcast here for this episode. And of course, don't forget that if you have any pressing topics that you would like to see discussed here in the Bongocast, the community talk, then you can always leave your suggestions in the comment section down below or send me an email. Or if you would like to become a guest, if you have something that you would like to share with the community, you can become a guest here on the podcast, again, by simply commenting down below or letting me know through an email. So as mentioned, during the live stream I did over on Instagram, I had a few guests. I actually started off with about an hour solo live streaming, just answering questions from the community, answering as much as I could, because there's still many details that I cannot disclose because they are still under embargo. But all the things that I could talk about, I did so in the solo live stream. The VOD of that you can find, the full VOD you can find over on my Instagram account. But the last half hour I had some guests in the live stream, like Bern International Airport, also known as Bernie, Benjamin, also known as FDR Airport, and then Adam, also known as MTE, came and joined me, and we had a talk about the latest news regarding Aether Model starting Scale 500 production. And let's just jump right into that with the initial reaction of Bern International Airport to the news.
Yeah, I was first of all very surprised to hear it this morning that now we have a new competitor in the market. And I was hyped because I saw the models, and the Korean one and the Evo Air. I think FDR will join me in the opinion that these are fantastic models because we don't have them from Herpa, and you can get them through custom makers. But deliveries are quite complicated, so the customs are good from the creators, but you can't get perfect ones. So it's really awesome to see them now from a legit producer and having the print quality.
What in terms of, we can't really talk about what kind of molds they will be featuring to begin with, other than we, of course, now can talk about the 7879. I could ask the simple question: what aircraft would you like to see them make next?
I won't say the joke I had in my mind. I won't say it. Which I would really like to see now. Only the 787-9 side, or also other modes.
Let's start with 7879, then we can take other molds, perhaps.
I think like a few smaller airlines which operate the 787-9, especially in Asia, where Herpa hasn't got the hang of getting the license, would be interesting. I mean, they're 1 to 500 company, and I think that the Asian market is a huge potential for like 1 to 500 customers. And making like these Chinese operators who operate the 787-9 would be an interesting take. And I mean, let's see. Herpa hasn't got the hang of doing Asian models, and I mean they already started with Aether and Korean. So let's see how they will go.
What about you, Benjamin?
Yeah, I think I'd have to go with either Riyadh Air in that beautiful livery, or also the Junyao red livery that they have. Those are two beautiful models, add a little bit of a color to our setups, and with Riyadh coming into the market in 2026, it makes sense.
Yeah, I had But actually, I hadn't thought about Riyadh Air, but I agree that I mean they have a spectacular livery, and for sure it is a model. I mean, we've already seen models in scale 400. Actually, quite a few have featured the Riyadh Air already in scale 400. But it indeed is something that, of course, have not seen in scale 500. What a surprise! And I am sure would be also a model that from the get go could be a bestseller, because it would be just an airline that many have a natural interest in. And then, of course, yeah, with the launch next year, I think for sure a model that could be very cool. I'll certainly add it to the list of suggestions for the future.
Perhaps release of the Korean Air in the new livery.
Yeah, that was actually my first response when they came to me and said they would do the Korean Air. The first question is it the new livery? And I said no, it's going to be in the old standard livery. But I mean, it will still be around for quite some time. I mean, the new livery was announced this year, has been introduced this year. So when we unless Korean Air does a faster turnaround with introducing the livery, the normal pace that you see, of course, is that liveries usually are on aircraft about 7 years before they have to be repainted. So I don't know when they had the last aircraft delivered in their now old standard livery, but I guess we have about 7 years still seeing the now old standard livery around. So I think the model still makes a lot of sense. But for sure, seeing a Korean Air new livery would be very, very cool.
But I actually think like having the old one is even better because like the new one is like mostly white and having like this iconic Korean Air livery conserved on a model, it's quite a selling point because like many are saying like the new livery isn't so good. So it's good to have the old one still around. I mean, the 787s, as you said, Bongos, they will fly for at least 9 years in the future. So
Yeah, it is an iconic livery, and as it is still around, it makes sense to feature it now. It is also something, I mean, until very recently this year, I think nobody would ever have any complaint about a Korean Air Dreamliner in the now old standard livery. So yeah, still makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I guess we still all have to get used to the new Korean livery if before we fully embrace it in our hearts. I've been in contact with Aether Model for quite some time, and there's still so much more to that I would love to disclose that we just can't talk about just yet. But I mean, I know Benjamin, you have actually been a help because also Bernie, but also others in the community, of course. Especially with the project of actually getting a list of suggestions together where that I could send to them, where I could say, okay, this is not just my opinion, but this is actually based on more collectors around. And I at the time didn't really feel like I could make such a request to the community without kind of disclosing that there might be something going on. So yeah, big thanks to you guys for that. What was your thought, FDR, when I had to tell you, can you please do this, but I can't really tell you why?
I had an inkling that it was going to be this. So I did it, of course, knowing that it was probably going to be in this situation. So that's why I did it with great pleasure. And that's why also I think a lot of people responded, which was really, really positive. So it was very, very good. I was very happy to do it.
Northern Airport asks, guys, do you think Ether can attract new collectors and make the 1 to 500 market more attractive than 1 to 400?
No.
no.
It's a step in the right direction. At least we have a competitor that's going to try to push Herpa in the right direction and just overall give us better quality planes. But the 1 to 4 market is just so big, and they have, of course, the US in the palm of their hands. 1 to 500 is a very much a European thing, and I think it's going to stay that way. So, as much as I want 1 to 500 to take the lead and become like the scale, I don't think it's possible.
But I mean, we now have like better prices again. So now, which is a really important point for myself because like I come from this point for young collectors when you like have only like a few bucks of pocket money and you can't really spend that much on models. it's like awesome seeing these old prices, still high prices in regards to like aircraft manufacturing model aircraft, but like that we now have the chance to like have a 787-9 with good print quality and everything for just 32 euros. It's very attractive. So it's awesome to see it back again. I mean, these are the prices I have like on 777s from 2018 or something like that. So it's really cool to see it, like, because like we can now expect when they enter the market that like hopefully there will be a new wave of collectors, because like I felt like, I mean, we all three guys are very long in this community. I mean, I still remember chatting with FDR when he still had his old account, and we were talking about memories, I think a few months ago, about like the community, how it was back then. And there were so many collectors and constantly a new flow of very creative model airports and young folks who wanted to build an airport and have an awesome setup. And I felt like in the last year, this amount dwindled down because like the aircraft models are now so expensive and you just can buy like one or two of them. So
We've lost a lot of good creators.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the Scale 500 community has really taken a hit in the last at least 10 years with having a Herpa monopoly effectively. I mean, Sky 500 was the last really disappearing. They died off during Corona, and I mean, JC Wings has been around and is technically still around, but they have been releasing very, very few models on occasion, and they have also kind of made it clear that they don't want to release more Scale 500 models, which made the EasyJets such a big surprise. Not just that it was an EasyJet, but especially coming from JC Wings, because they actually by that time had already said that no, we don't want to make more Scale 500 models. So it is really cool to see now a new player, and I mean, for me, it is really I think the most important thing here is the potential of breaking the monopoly, because I don't want to see Herpa disappearing. I want them to do better, and they have clearly proven that they cannot do better by themselves. They get all the support from the community. They don't manage to turn around. So having perhaps a potential potent rival in the market. Although it is still early days, obviously it will take time for them to build up. I mean, but if they can be successful, hopefully this is something that can push Herpa to do better than what they do now, so that we can get better choice. Because I think actually the whole thing, Scale 500 market versus Scale 400 market, there was some interesting point from actually the Herpa product manager in one of the live streams this year, which I hadn't really reflected so much over, but I actually would agree on his point, is that on the surface, Scale 400 market looks really healthy because you have so many manufacturers, but it might not be as healthy as it seems. As you said, it might be very good for collectors, but it's not very good for manufacturers. And I mean, I'm a collector, so I would always say, hey, it's good if it's good for collectors. But I do think also there is a point in that there needs to be a balance in this. I do think there is a Scale 400 bubble. Which obviously is something we don't suffer from in Scale 500. I think one point where you can really see that is the reselling value of models. Scale 400 models don't resell for anything. I mean, you can get them dirt cheap because there is just so much on the market and it's constantly being flooded with new stuff. So these models don't keep their value. Now, I don't condone what we see in Scale 500, where we have exploding resale values. I mean, eBay at the moment is, and has for at least a year, gone completely mad. And we unfortunately then see scalpers that, of course, as soon as you see these exploding prices, you get scalpers that increase this tendency. But hopefully this is something where we maybe can come on a better balance in Scale 500, so we can get more better resale prices as well. Of course, it will perhaps someone with a large collection may in a sense take a hit in the value of the collection, although if you're not selling the models, the value doesn't matter. It only matters the moment you want to sell. But I think having a more healthy price value range there, and then it will be interesting to see with Scale 400 how long this can keep going, because I think in that sense I really do agree with the Herpa product manager. I don't think it is a healthy point where the Scale 400 market is. But they have too much, we have too little. Maybe we can meet all somewhere in the middle. Let me just take in the chat here. Again, a question from Norden. Do you think Scale Model Store is going to make new models in 1 to 500.
I wish. I mean, the EasyJet one is still my favorite model from the last years. So at least years, because it's an EasyJet. The mode is perfect. The model, the print quality. I mean, print quality. There are a few smudges, but I hope they will do another cooperation because the last one was great and very unexpected. I mean, like it was like this morning we woke up and everybody was like going nuts. Like we have an EasyJet 1 to 500 EasyJet model. I mean, it was the last time when our chat so exploded in our group. I remember. Apart from this morning where I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Benjamin, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, the EasyJet really was just it was Christmas Day. It was so out of the blue, and no one expected it. JC Wings never even mentioned having an Avery mold, let alone again having the will to do models in 1 to 500. So having this one be pumped out and on the Scale Model Store was just a complete blindside. No one was ready for it, and it was crazy.
Should I be the downer in the group now? And
Yeah.
I mean, the model was obviously made by JC Wings and then sold exclusively through the Scale Model Store. So somehow they were involved in this. To what degree is not really known. But I did communicate a bit with the Scale Model Store about it, and the unfortunate message is that they have absolutely no plans on repeating this. I don't think it's so much because of Scale Model Store, although perhaps also, but it is JC Wings that they just don't want to make Scale 500 models. And as far as I understand, they have struggled with distributing these models. They did last year, of course, make the 747-400 in a Star Wars livery of Virgin Atlantic, which I think to this day, by now, I have only seen one collector actually having the model. They had massive production issues with it, so pretty much all the models that actually got shipped out to retailers were recalled or shipped back because they couldn't sell them. I think they burned their hands a little bit there, which is unfortunate. So unfortunately, I think the combination JC Wings and Scale Model Store or any other store is very unlikely to happen. But hey, now we have other models that we can put our hopes and dreams in, and I think it would also be great to see if it's not that I mind. Scale Model Store is certainly one of the better stores out there. They could have sold the EasyJet for way more than they did, but they said they were happy with that price, and why overcharge people for something? But still, I do think it would be best if other models, helper models, any models are sold from as many manufacturers, as many retailers as possible, because it makes it more accessible for collectors. And also, that's perhaps also a factor. It's just it gives a little bit competition in the market. It's not because these retailers have to go below each other with pricing, but it at least keeps some. It's preventing someone from just increasing the prices out of the blue if there's someone else who could sell it at the RRP.
Herpa.
Yeah.
And they implemented like this limit that you can like only order one. It was 4 first, and then like you could only order one EasyJet. So this was huge, so that everybody like could get their hands on these models.
Actually, now they have. I think it is still up. I don't think it has been delivered yet, but 1 or 2 weeks ago, they made the announcement or suddenly had it on the website again, so that people could order the EasyJet, but limited to one customer. And if you have already ordered it, you cannot. So that I think that's actually brilliant, because it just, for those who missed out on the first batch, they could at least get their hands now on it, or can. I'm not quite sure about the timeline yet, but yeah. That again just shows me for me that if it had to be an exclusive sale for one retailer, then Scale Model Store was certainly a good choice, because they certainly have their ethics right, in terms of making sure that collectors have a chance of getting to such a model, because obviously it's something being very very sought after in the community. All right. let's see. We have another question. Do you see if there are any things the community can do to help Ether?
I think if we support them as we supported Harper in the years when they were actually good, and like that we try to like buy their models, especially like give them our thoughts. How are they? How can they improve? And just to like, I think the best part of the community to like give to them is like that we try to communicate with them as we try to do with Harper, but as you already expressed, they take in this like community talk and actually try to do something. So I would just say buy the models, see if they are good, what could they improve, and often communicate it and really give them like constructive feedback. Okay, Benjamin, what is your thought now?
Yeah, I have to agree. I think we need to support them, obviously, financially. That's the only way that they're going to get off the ground. They need to have a social media presence, ideally on Instagram,
Yes.
somewhere where they can post their models as well, where they can say, listen, we've got our first shipment. This is what the box looks like, to make it appetizing, of course, for us. And then it's also just an opportunity for us to perhaps get into contact with them and have an interaction and have an open communication, unlike with Herpa, where they create groups, but it's only them that they can write messages, and when they do lives, they only respond to certain questions.
Only positive things.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and we can't forget the one guy who always asked in the live stream about one cars and trucks product.
Yeah, always one.
So like always one guy who like asks the most random truck shit, and we are like, that's tomorrow.
And that ties into what I said during the podcast. Like, obviously, it's great to have everyone being able to join, but there are some people who are a little more on the outside looking in terms of, you know, what they want and what could be done, and sometimes it's not really realistic.
Or trolling.
The particular models, particular companies. But yeah, just I think maybe having a more closed circle that switches from time to time.
Let me just take you in here. Since you are a custom model maker, you have definitely been benefiting in one way or the other from Herpa struggling in the past. So what is your thought about the new player on the market potentially shaking up things?
I have to say it's very good for Herpa. If Herpa responds how I think, meaning they will start making better details and better prices, not like they are now. So that would be great. Or if they don't, we at least have another option, because one 400 scale has many options and better prices at each one. So I think 500 scales needs this too.
And what do you think, since you are a custom model maker? I mean, it might take away some of the traffic to you guys.
At this first batch, it didn't take any, because I make mainly European, meaning Ryanair, Brussels, and stuff like this. But I don't view this negatively at all. I think it's just better, so people can have two brands and some custom models maker like we are out here. So that's my view on it.
And of course, it's nothing confirmed or something, but perhaps the possibility of getting albino albino models, so blank models from other models in the future, could also maybe be helpful for you guys, especially when the base price is much lower than with Herpa.
Some old Herpa models have this like really old printing, and it's hard to get off. So albino models would be just great for this. I would really appreciate it.
Let's see what they come up with in the future. How else could we in the community help Ether? Constructive criticism, of course, if the models are good, buying the models, trying to give them as much feedback. They should have a social media presence. It's something that I have had in mind to talk with them about for a while. I haven't done so. I wanted to wait for this day also to hear from people in the community. Is there anything else we can do that would help a new company in the Scale 500 market?
Well, we could, of course, sorry, I'm a little bit in English, I'm thinking of the word, advertise with other account. And if they have an account, we can like join their live streams and just show us their support, and I think when they will join the community, they will see how much we like hate on Herpa. So I think they will be glad to see this, kinda. And yeah, if we share them the polls we made, I think Northern Airport made them some time ago. So if they do this, that would be just great because they would see what the community wants.
What do you say, Benjamin?
Yeah, I have to agree. I think advertising them in a positive light, if it's merited, of course, is definitely a good thing. What could be interesting is perhaps even just comparing two models next to each other. It's what I did with the JC Wings R2D2 and the RAM and the LL. But if we could do a direct comparison, not only would it allow Herpa to see what they're not doing well, but it would also praise Aether models at the same time.
What do you say, Bernie?
I will say something off topic now because I would like to see them at RMS where we can like directly interact with them. It would be great to see those guys there. Just because like
It's a Collectors Fair in Amsterdam. I'm just translating for those who don't know what it is. No worries.
Okay, so like that's the best opportunity to like get into contact with them directly. I mean, they will hopefully have a social media in the future because it's important, face it. And I would really like to see them at the RMS so that they can see that actually the people go to them and like say, you're doing a great job, you are actually helping the community, and that they like get this first-hand experience back to and see that we collectors appreciate them and really want them to succeed because like you could now say we are hating on Herpa because we just hate them. I mean, there are a few Herpa fanboys who are saying it like that, but I mean, it's just we criticize Herpa for so long and there is nothing where they improved on. So
yeah, and I think just to make your point, I don't think anyone is really hating. At least not. I mean, there will always be some, but I don't think the majority of us is hating on Herpa. We are criticizing them. We are calling them out just as much as we're praising them when they do well, which unfortunately doesn't happen as often as the issues they have. But yeah, hate is definitely too strong of a word. But credit where credit's due. I think that's the approach that I think most people in the community have when it comes to these things. There's always, of course, there can be a disagreement on how criticism is voiced, and that's fair enough. People can have different points on that, but that is what it is. All right, so yeah, it has been a really exciting day. I have been looking forward to this day for a long time, and there's still so much to come. I really do hope that we will see them having a good start in the in the community, in the market, selling some models, and then making some investments so that they can make more of the stuff that we really do miss. Maybe some final words, because unfortunately I do have to round up this live stream here. But maybe some final words from each of you guys. What do you think about today's happening? Maybe Benjamin, you can start.
I say Christmas V2. Cautiously optimistic. It's a great start. 3 great models, good pricing, great details. Now it's up to them to deliver.
Adam?
Well, I have to say first thing, the price really shocked me in a good way because I'm used to Herpa prices. They would charge what for Dream Runner? 45 euros.
Yeah.
So 32 euros is like really exciting for me because I love the Norse Airlines, and I'm really happy to finally have it in October when it's coming out. So also the other models they released, Eva Air and Korean Air. I really like how they are looking at Asia, like making Asian models where Herpa doesn't make so many.
Bernie, what are your words on closing words for this day?
it was awesome seeing it. Gave me a throwback back when I discovered Herpa and the 1 to 500 models for the first time at the Munich Visitor Center at the Munich airport. And like and it's just like 3 models, but I was so hyped for them because it was like when you go to the store when you were like younger and were like, I'm now buying a model, it would be so awesome. You take it out of the package and you just look at it for like 2 hours, present it on your diorama and like just say, it's so cool, money well spent, I'm happy. And I'm really happy that we now have another competitor and that we now have hopefully a competitor who really delivers quality, and that we don't have to worry every time we pre-order something that there will be massive print lines or wings falling off or gear breaking off or whatsoever, so that we just can go to the store lighthearted and just enjoy our hobby again.
So really exciting times to be in the Scale 500 community for sure, and the really awesome announcement from Aether Models that they will start making Scale 500 models in the very near future. And this is of course a topic that I will be following very closely here on the channel, perhaps also in the future on the podcast, but for sure in news videos and other videos here on the channel. So if you want to know more, there is much more coming, much more information coming in the future, so keep an eye peeled for that. And of course, if you subscribe to the channel, you won't miss out on any of that. The podcast I had originally planned for this episode was actually a talk together with Tim, who you might also know as Tim Wings 500 Collector or TWC Custom. And apart from talking a little bit about his quite interesting collection, we did of course dive into the whole world of custom model making, something that has grown quite significantly in recent years in the community. And that is something I will bring to you in the next episode of Bongocast, the community talk. So do also keep an eye out for that. Of course, if you like this podcast, then a like is also much appreciated. And with that, thank you so much for watching, listening, or both, and hope to see you soon here on the channel again. I'm checking out, and bye.